Welcome, listener, to another episode of Spam, Spam, Spam Humbug. This is episode 150 of the podcast. And it's actually an episode of the podcast, not a reading of Through the Moongate, another chapter of Andrea Cantato's book. It's also the first episode, if you can believe it, it's mid-March in 2021, and it is the first episode that we managed to record this year. We actually did record one other episode, but unfortunately, due to issues with our recording bot, that is lost to time and the electrons that comprise the internet. So this is episode 150, take 2, I guess you could say. And, you know, there's a lot of different topics that we cover, because, of course, we always cover a lot of different topics, although I think the main topic is, like, modding and broken games and modding games and things just not working right, and that's really actually the theme of the whole podcast, because, hey, we haven't actually had a successful recording session in several months, and we are so rusty at this, it's going to come out in the episode. I apologize, but have a listen anyways. As always, this episode of Spam, Spam, Spam Humbug is brought to you by our Patreon backers, patreon.com/ultimacodex, if you would like to join that hardy crew. Thank you to everyone who supports the podcast and the Codex by that means. And as always, a hearty thank you to our co-producers, Seth, Golden Flame, Dominic, Violation, Helgriff, Gronk, Pascal, Thor1, and now, John. All right, that's enough blather from me. It's been a while since we've done this. Let's hop into the episode.
Uh-oh, he's bringing out the big guns.
Well, you mentioned Hero Quest, and
I did. I did, Lord, I did.
I don't know if Google would have this. This is like way back in time.
You're searching for something very specific, I can tell.
Yeah, I'd have to go probably back to my Lightroom libraries for one of my good friends. Still touch base with him. I mean, less so obviously now with the whole not seeing anybody ever anybody thing that's going on lately. But
you're not bitter. You're not bitter about it in the slightest.
Yeah, well, you know, no, there was a so you know, back when I was still actively involved in Rovers, my one of my friends spent a while thinking this one up, but basically it was he took Hero Quest, you know, classic board game, and also apparently the reason that Quest for Glory was renamed from Heroes Quest. But anyways, yeah, that's neither here nor there. Anyways, yeah, so he took Hero Quest and he readapted it as Trogdor Quest, and he even made, like, you know, sort of a custom, somewhat hacked together Trogdor minifig that and yeah, the whole idea was, you know, he had to get through his quest and end the Burninator, although I think in the end it was revealed that the Burninator could not actually be killed, or like we had missed the important weapon that would allow the Burninator to be killed, so that ended poorly.
Not for Trogdor.
Yeah, well, yes, that's true too.
There's an actual board game now, though.
I have it. I backed it on Kickstarter. I have a copy. It's actually quite a lot of fun.
Burninating the peasants.
Yeah, it's actually quite a lot of fun. I when now we're all out of Rovers because of course you age out at 26, which was a little while ago. But we still get together with just periodically, like, you know, we'll someone will be just like, hey, come on over, I'll fire up the barbecue and the smoker, and we'll just, you know, like, bring whatever you want to cook and we'll have a good time with it. And the last time we had this, which was not long before the onset of the pandemic, actually, I had just gotten Trogdor Quest, and so it was like, oh, I'm totally bringing this over because we got to try this. And it's actually a darn fun game. They did a good job with it. So I'm looking forward to playing that again. But it's definitely, everybody has to be in on the
spirit of it.
And you really have to be in on the joke, you know, to really get it.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that Homestar is not quite as popular as it used to be, because in this day and age, Strong Bad would be canceled. There is no doubt in my mind.
I don't know. I don't know if he would be. I mean, the thing about...
There we go.
I don't know.
We don't have to get into all that. I just wanted to say that. That's all.
I think I'm going to push back on that a little bit. I mean, like, yes.
Yeah, I might be wrong.
Trogdor was definitely, sort of aping that... yeah.
Go on and say it.
Lucadors? Is that
Luchador?
the term? Like, luchador? Thank you.
I'll tell you what I think about the English.
Classical language training of a different sort for me. So I don't. CH as a guess often comes out as a hard K for me. But yeah, so he's kind of definitely riffing on that luchador concept. But I mean, that whole series is just so off the wall. Like, I don't think there are probably people who would be offended by it, but I hope they would be a very small minority because, like it's just.
I was quoting like one particular email where he was saying like offensive things. Like it was like offensive things Strong Bad would say. He's like, "Oh, I'll tell you what you think about the English," and it just cut off there. I don't know if you remember that one.
I've seen them. I have most of them on DVD, actually. I ordered all the box sets. So, yeah. I don't know. I think there's certain kinds of comedy that I think still fly. And I think they're just that whole, the way they did comedy, it wasn't like irreverent, but neither was it like, I don't know. I don't have the right word for it. I can't call the word to mind, but it was a very particular brand of comedy that was kind of it was just zany,
I am glad that it hasn't been ruined. I think from what I've read and heard, the Brothers Chaps have gotten multiple offers from Cartoon Network to all these different places to make like a cartoon and stuff. But I think they recognize if they did that, they would lose control, creative control of the characters. So
I think they did go on to how to animate careers. I'd heard that at least one of them ended up working at Disney, but yeah, the characters themselves that they've created, they're doing the, they're not quite pulling a full Bill Watterson, because of course you'll recall that Bill Watterson very famously, like, there's basically no legitimate Calvin and Hobbes merchandise. Almost any Calvin and Hobbes merchandise you find is unlicensed because Watterson insisted on having just the utmost creative control over Calvin and Hobbes. And yeah, he rarely, maybe never, actually licensed out Calvin's image or Hobbes's image for use in any kind of merchandise. So like most of those, if you see like the Calvin peeing on something, bumper sticker or window sticker on a truck, it's almost, I guarantee you, unlicensed.
Oh yeah, no, that's the sad, unintended consequence of that. But at the same time, you can easily just ignore that and appreciate the original comics.
Yeah, I can't blame him for wanting to have, just as much, just to defend his creation as much as he felt was necessary, right? Calvin and Hobbes is a classic. And, it's an amazing, it's an amazing story. And it's an amazing vehicle for thought, in addition to being darn funny a lot of the time. But there's a lot more to just Calvin than the jokes, right? Like it's a really, really serious thing underneath the comedy. And if Bill Watterson felt that it was just, not licensing it out was what he needed to do to protect that thing that he created, well, he created a pretty impressive thing. So, I don't really fault him for that. And the Brothers Chaps have not gone to quite that extreme, but they have definitely been very targeted in terms of, what sorts of merchandise they've allowed, or like the video game crossovers that they did with Telltale. They've been very cautious with the property, and I can't fault them for that either, because, again, it's just one of those things it's a really good thing, and it's just fun to enjoy. And I wouldn't want to see it diminished in the way that something like, say, a Garfield became, Oh
man, can you imagine? I can't like, the only thing I can watch with my son are like the 80s specials and Garfield and Friends. It's about all I can stomach, because there was something there. There was something there at one point that, was generally well done, but it's so watered down now.
Yeah, I used to enjoy buying like the when we had like book fairs in school. I used to enjoy buying the Garfield compilations, right? Which is, just like a thick book of whatever, some amalgamation of strips, usually from a few years prior. But like at some point, yeah, it just like it changed. Just like there's this point, and I think I could even find it like in one of the books that I've bought, where it's like the jokes it started to become stale. Like stuff was just getting recycled.
Mass production of a cartoon strip that I don't know. I highly doubt that. What's the guy's name? I highly doubt he's drawn one of those in. Yeah, Jim Davis. Like, when's the last time he actually drew a strip? Like one of the comic strips. I don't really know for sure, but one cool thing about Garfield, though, I still love, and this is kind of ancient as far as web stuff goes now, but I still love Garfield minus Garfield.
Yes.
Jim Davis,
I think I still have that on Feedly.
He officially endorsed that at one point. Like he enjoyed it for what it was, which is just, and it becomes so like existential for John. It's like he's
terrifyingly existential for John.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I followed that for you. It's probably still on my Feedly, but I haven't checked that in a while, so I'd have to actually go back and look. But yeah, I remember following that for the longest time because it's and sometimes I think they would remove Odie too, right? So then it was like super meta. Of course, you have to be careful with doing that because, of course, then, and I mean, sometimes it was just funny, right? Because it's just like a blank frame and then another blank frame. And then John walks in and says something like completely random.
Yeah, exactly.
We have eliminated all context from this comment.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you enjoy.
And at half the time it was actually funny, but in that sort of despairing kind of way, right? Like it's sort of like doing the experiment of, removing the laugh track from, pick any comedy show, but the worst one is Frasier. If you
I think you can make a pretty strong argument for taking the laugh track off of Roseanne as well.
I mean, in terms of like what happens when you do, because if you actually watch Frasier without the laugh track, it is just the most depressing show on television. Roseanne would probably be a really close second. But Frasier is just the most dysfunctional, depressing show without the laugh track.
I could say that for like, I think I watched one of like a clip of Seinfeld that was like that. Took out the laugh track and it becomes this latent horror under everything.
Yeah, I could see that. It's kind of one of those, show about,
It's a show about the great old ones.
Yeah. I never really followed Seinfeld that closely. My wife back when DVDs were still a thing that we regularly picked up, Netflix is now. Like we have several of the seasons of Frasier on DVD. But yeah, I remember seeing some clips of like someone who had gone through and basically removed the laugh track from a few Frasier episodes. And it's just like, wow, this is dark. Dark and kind of terrifying. Okay.
Laugh. We need you to laugh. Otherwise you'll see how terrible this actually is.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's not like it's not, they're all talented actors, they all play their parts exceedingly well, but yeah, it's just, they're actually acting out a deep and profound human tragedy. It's just that, the laugh track is kind of there to remind you that, oh yeah, this is supposed to be a joke, kind of, I guess.
Laugh. Don't think very hard.
Yeah, pretty much. Suppose there's some conditioning that goes on with that too, right? It's like, wait, why am I laughing at this? This is actually a really terrible thing. Why is this funny? Why is this supposed to be funny?
Because
what am I being conditioned for?
You've been conditioned to laugh when we play this sound. Yeah.
I finally got Oblivion to work.
Yeah, you were saying that on Discord there. How did do tell? And while you do tell, I'm going to go and do part 2 of getting this dough that I'm making for later ready. But yes, because you were struggling getting Oblivion to work for a while, which is not surprising because it was never the most stable game to begin with, and buggy.
I wasn't even aware that getting Oblivion running was like a thing. I guess I've just been like dumb lucky in that regard.
Rothbard, take it away. Tell us your struggles.
Well, I think my struggles continue now. Actually, I just
Oh dear.
scooted up into the waterfront. Okay. So apparently, this vortex thing with whoa, there's a giant yellow cube with an exclamation point walking toward me.
That
Okay,
can't be comforting.
my mods are not. Wow, I wish you could see this.
Share your screen.
Can I do such a thing? How do I
We're
do
in
that?
Discord. You can absolutely do that.
What's the key?
Let me hop over to where I need to be to look.
What?
When you go, do you see where where the voice channel is?
Yeah, I see the
Go
voice
all the
stuff
way.
on
Go
the
to the
upper left.
yeah. Go to the bottom where it says voice connected, and right below that should be buttons called video and screen.
Okay. Actually, I'll need that.
You might
I'll
want to click the one
tab
called
out here.
screen.
Okay. Share my screen.
And then just basically go back to what you were doing, and the other people following the channel, like it won't show up in Kenneth's thing because that's just audio, but the other people following the voice channel right now should see a little thing pop up next to your name that says live, and they can click it and they can see the screen that you have, and that's how it's
Okay.
supposed to work.
Let's see how it goes.
I heard the happy sound. There's the live box. Yep, watch stream. Okay, I'm just waiting for it to load up.
Are you seeing?
Right now, I'm still. Oh wait, I need to pick the person. Rothbard Chlorthos live. Okay. Right now, I'm just seeing a little screen with two blue boxes. I think that's. I don't know if it's like queuing up the data from you, like I don't know if it's buffering or something like that. So maybe it hasn't started yet, or if it's just not working. I'm not sure which.
Let me see. I've never done such a thing before, so I'm gonna stop that.
The stream has ended. Okay.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
So-
Stream the Elder Scrolls for Oblivion. Okay. Go live.
Stream pause. Oh, yep. Now I see it. I see your pause screen.
Whoa! It crashed. And it crashed.
You minimize the application, and yeah, that caused it to crash.
Okay. Now, how do I do that from inside the game? That's the big question here.
That is the question I'm not certain of because
Let me see. Let's see if I could do it from when I get to the. I know something's already off because none of the music or sound is playing.
Yeah,
That could be because I'm connected to Discord.
okay. I mean, you had it working for a moment because I saw like the pause screen where it has like the menu of options, like save, load, resume, and all exit and all that, and then it suddenly cut out. So for a moment there, you had it working.
Okay, I had an option to go live that popped up, but I didn't. I can't click on it. It's like if I do
Weird.
I tried Shift Tab to see if I could. I'm gonna Alt Tab to try to do this again, and maybe.
I mean, usually what happens when when you hit the button, it brings a little thing that says screen share, then you click which one of your programs that's running you want to share.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know if
I did it again.
I don't know if running Oblivion in full screen is somehow causing that to choke. Maybe that's one of the many issues that Oblivion has with modern hardware. I don't know.
I mean, it only has a bunch.
So
Clordos was struggling to get it running earlier in the week.
Okay. All right. Bethesda Softworks logo. See, the weird thing is I'm seeing on the upper left an overlay from Discord, and it shows all of y'all on a list, and it's also saying go live. But there's no way that I can click go live. You cannot get you Flask.
diggy hole.
But anyway, I'm out on the waterfront in the Imperial City. I did the alternate start on the ship thing, and all the people are like these big walking blocks. So yeah, I messed up the mod somewhere. I really wish I could stream it though, because it's pretty funny.
Either that or one or more of your mods is not playing well with others.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you can grab a screenshot, I'll make it the episode art.
Okay, yeah, I will do that. That's worth a reload before I try to correct any of this. So, Kenneth, you mentioned some kind of topic in relationship to a game or the game or
Oh
a
God,
particular game?
oh God, not the game.
That was like a week or two ago, but I don't even know. You didn't really go into any detail.
Oh, yeah, I had an idea for how to wrap up the episode, but I don't know if we're quite done yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know it was like wrap up, so it's all good.
Yeah, I among the various podcasts that I follow, there was one that had an interesting idea that I want to explore a little bit. But,
Okay, so it is not that the game.
no, it is a more differenter game.
I'm pretty sure that we have both just lost the game.
Ah, no, you have not, because we have not even started it yet. Although, that reminds me that I need to make sure that I still have the relevant... where is that here? There it is. Okay. We're all good. Yeah, I don't know. My goodness, we haven't done this in a while.
Perhaps that's for the best.
Maybe. I mean, it's funny because, like, in theory, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. And in theory, there's still, restrictions and lockdowns. And depending on where you are in the world, there are more of those or less of those.
Yes, for example, you could be in Texas where things are stupid.
Well, I mean, like, I think we still have a mask mandate, but we're, trying to open things up more. I'm going to actually be able to register my kids for swimming lessons starting next week. So that's a welcome thing. But
you're also in a place that's managing it better than we are here.
Well, there's just less people here. But
I suspect even if we broke it down proportionately, you'd still be managing it better than we are here.
Well, I don't know. I guess. I mean, truth be told, I can continue to appreciate the seriousness of this thing based on how novel it is, but at the same time, in so many respects, I do feel just over all of this because there's just so much where it's just like, nope, I want to get out camping again. Nope, I want to. That's actually the big one for me. So I want to get out camping with my scouts again. It's all well and good doing the virtual meetings and some of the in-person stuff that we can do now, but at some point, it's just we're really missing a core piece here. And I miss it. I miss it terribly. So, anyways, that's a digression.
And it's absolutely fair and reasonable to feel that way.
Yeah. Anyways, that's a digression. But where the heck was I even going with this? I had a point, and it's completely derailed because that's how my brain works. Just like, we'll just dump everything else. That can't have been that important.
Yeah, there's a new shiny set of train tracks. Let's go down it.
Yeah. Seriously, though, legit, what were we talking about before this? What was I trying to build towards?
You see, you ask as though I know, and therein lies the humor.
I suppose so. Well, I was just, that's right, because like it's been this has been just such an odd year. I'm still working from, well, mind you, I was always working from home even before the pandemic started, so that doesn't really count for much. But, like my office is still mostly shut down. But I've just been staggeringly busy these last few months. Like it's crazy, actually. Even some of the people that I regularly correspond with, I've had to basically like write little apologies to them. He's just like, I'm sorry I haven't written in the last 2 months. I don't know why I'm so darn busy, but I am. Because like on the one hand, there shouldn't be a lot going on, and yet on the other hand, it seems that my days. It seems that, my days are kind of more packed than ever, which is weird in its own way. And yet, I don't know, it's happening. So, I mean, I guess it's good to be working and it's good to, have other stuff going on. I'm glad that things like scouting are still able to proceed for us in what ways we can make them. And we're kind of alternating between in-person and virtual events right now. Kids are all in school. That seems to be going well. But yeah, it's just been crazy, crazy busy. And, here we are. It's coming up on the middle of March, and we're finally doing the first one of these in 2021, which, and that's been partly helped by the fact, partly there's been some pressure off because, of course, I've been doing those Through the Moongate readings for Andrea Cantato, which that's been fun, right? Like producing those has been something new and different, which I've enjoyed taking on. But it's kind of just like, we should actually really get back to doing the podcast at some point here. And then it's like, I know we tried a couple of times and then it just kind of kept falling through for various reasons. But
I think it worked that time. by the way.
Oh, did you get it to work?
It says I'm live.
Yeah.
It didn't
let's
crash.
see.
I do see. Let me punch up your stream 1 second. Oh yeah, I got you. I watch what you're doing. Technically,
All right.
I've been streaming the World of Warcraft I'm playing, but I'm going to turn that off because it's really.
I was about to ask what that was. Well,
First
that
of
certainly
all-
looks like Oblivion. Oh wow, there's a lot of yellow blocks there.
That's what I'm saying. Check out
Those are
this.
supposed to.
check out this
Those are supposed to be people.
I assume that one that's sort of rocking its way down the lane is
Wow.
supposed to be a person.
Wow. It's like Skyrim. It's like Cyrodiil has been invaded by gelatinous cubes.
Here it comes. Ah!
Head out into the wilderness and see if the monsters look like that as well.
Oh wait,
No,
like
see-
that looks like an arm, or
Uh,
no? Oh wait, oh there.
no, but
Oh
it's-
yeah,
it's-
exclamation
It's an
mark.
exclamation
Yeah.
point. Yes.
They're going home to their brethren. Wow.
Yes, I know I'm streaming. I want to stop streaming.
That's
Well, there's one. There are people.
Oh, there are people there. So what are the other things?
Okay, now they look like those actually look like people.
Yeah, I have no idea.
What?
It
This is
could
like the
be.
worst case of texture pop in ever.
It could. Well, there's. Hey, man.
There's the stop screaming button. I can drop back to just
It's
watching
not
what
going to be
you're
good
up
for the
to.
podcast because nobody is seeing what's visually happening.
Well, turn back and I'll capture a screenshot here.
Okay.
Yeah. So face the ship so we can see the army of gelatinous cubes. There's always room for Jello.
I just like how those ones in the back are just sort of rocking around as they walk down the lane. But I have no idea, like, what's up with this white ship. I think, yeah, my mods have just gone crazy. That's what's going on.
They're not properly stacked. No.
There we go. That's a good shot. I got that one.
Oh, okay.
Use that as my cover art.
Vortex, stuff like the Nexus mod stuff is like really bad from the standpoint that it makes you feel like everything's going to work perfectly. And then it really doesn't.
You see, you can't just presume that because it's on the Nexus that it is properly balanced against anything else on the Nexus. This is not this is not a safe assumption to make.
That's actually one of the reasons that I enjoy. I haven't used too many mods for Mass Effect Andromeda, but there's a couple that I installed, and most of them have to be implemented with what's called the Frosty Mod Manager. And the nice thing about that one is it does all the conflict checking for you.
Yes, well, that's because
just
some
like-
of the Mass Effect fandom are, how should we say this, crazy dedicated.
Yeah. Well, I think the Frosty Mod Manager actually might have come out of the Battlefield community, which, granted, does not mean that they are less dedicated, Battlefield being what it is, because it's for any Frostbite engine game. But yeah, like the end result is it does a lot of checking to make sure that, like if you are applying multiple mods, it'll say, oh, hey, both of these mods are trying to overwrite the same resource. You need to pick between them.
Something will go screwy if you try to proceed.
Yeah, it's like you need to pick between these two things because otherwise it's going to be bad. Which is kind of appreciated.
You need to choose between which of your two children is your favorite.
And then, like more recently, I got into Mass Effect 1, and I'm doing Mass Effect 2 again as well. I couldn't wait for the Legendary Edition.
See, I'm all right with that because the Legendary Edition is supposed to be going live on my birthday, so I basically bought it as a present to myself.
Well, that's fun. So I couldn't quite wait for the Legendary Edition, so I just decided to. I wonder if that Oblivion music is going to make it into the recorded stream that Craig gets. I guess we'll find out.
I never heard the music. Like, for some reason, it never played it while I was, I didn't hear that channel.
Well, you know what? We'll find out. This is all new anyways.
It'll be an experiment. It'll be a blast.
Yeah. But anyways, so I installed, there's a couple of, like you were saying about the Mass Effect community being very dedicated. There's
A-Lot.
two. Well, there's A-Lot and its companion A-Lov, which is the videos. getting the AI upscale treatment. And then
There's A-Lot's basically the only non-official patches or whatever you want to call them that I use. Like I use like the DLC that I bought, and I use like the A-Lot mods.
There's Mutim too, the MEUITM.
I can't remember if that's one of the ones that the A-Lot auto suggests you get.
It does.
In which case I might have it.
Yeah. So those are the two that I've been experimenting with. But I do like that with the A-Lot installer, it's very, very, like explicit. Okay, if you want to install this, do all this other stuff first and then apply A-Lot.
Apply us last, always.
Yeah. And I mean, the improvement is pretty significant, right? Like I remember playing the original Mass Effect, and I remember things like, Garrus's face was always kind of called out as the biggest or the most visible example, because of course, pretty much everybody has Garrus in the party, and his face was definitely one that they didn't have a good texture for at higher resolutions. And so his face would look very pixelated, if you happen to be playing at full HD. But it all looks quite grand now, which is nice. So, have been enjoying that. I had to relearn Mass Effect 2's cover system, but...
yeah.
But yeah, I'd forgotten how fun those games were.
Indubitably.
It's all a distraction from finishing Andromeda, which is also a lot of fun. It's just that, Mass Effect 2 runs a lot better on my increasingly aged hardware. I like what the Frostbite engine is capable of, but it is definitely not kind to a GTX 960.
No. Oops, that was not what I wanted to do. Oh well.
Right now I'm, it's funny talking about Scouts. Right now I'm actually logged into the, so one of the virtual meetings that the Scouts wanted to do was Minecraft. So I set up a Bedrock server that they can all log into. And I'm currently actually just logged in there myself, bulldozing the house that I built for myself because I want to try and build something a little different.
I'm sorry, I no longer like this design. Crunch.
That is literally what is happening. It's just that I made such a darn big house the first time, so now it's like taking me forever to dismantle. But whatever. I got a better idea.
Can't you just blow it up?
I could, but I'm
getting
trying
the materials back.
Well, I'm not getting the materials back anyways. I'm just literally just bulldozing this thing. But where I situated it would be really bad to try and use demolitions to take it out.
Oh, how bad could it be?
I don't really want to destroy anybody else's stuff. Let's put it that way.
Oh, you have very close neighbors.
Yeah, well, it was kind of funny because, of course, the Scouts spent a meeting voting on what the requirements should be for the server. And then, of course, I put it together based on those requirements, which was, they wanted it survival mode. They didn't want creative. They wanted it a certain difficulty level. We gave it a particular seed and actually picking the seed was a lot of fun because it was basically everybody gave me a couple numbers. And then there's a website actually that kind of it's not perfectly accurate, but it does a reasonable job of showing you in low detail what the landform is going to look like based on a particular seed for a particular Minecraft edition.
Right.
So using this, I was able to, take all of their numbers and iterate through them a few times until I found, a pretty decent landmass. And with that, I, just built the server, set up the world, because of course a Minecraft server can only host one world at a time.
Pesky limitations.
Yeah, well, whatever. So I built the world, and it was fine. And then they logged in and started playing. And it was funny because, at first, everybody was kind of trying to play their own way, and some of them were getting mobbed by monsters, and it was kind of a disaster. And then slowly they remembered that, oh, hey, we can actually team up and collaborate and survive together. And so they did.
No way. Mutual assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then of course, what matters is this.
Well, and then of course there's, but even then, they got off to a pretty rocky start, and they're trying to build these rudimentary little shelters, and leave it to me, the scouter, to do the scoutery thing, and I just kind of, while they were busying themselves trying to set up camp, I wandered off and just explored the surroundings a little bit and kind of, it's like, hey, did y'all see this village over here? This village with no villagers? So they moved into, there were just all these houses here, and the game, for whatever reason, it spawned a village, but it didn't spawn villagers.
Look,
and
it's abandonware.
Yeah, literally. They're just like, oh, cool. Well, I guess we're moving in there.
Squatters' rights.
Yeah, so they... But yeah, so I built my big house, and now I'm just kind of slowly tearing it apart here. But,
Brick by brick and stone by stone.
So a little update on my part. There was a particular mod, Oscuro's Oblivion Overhaul, that I disabled, and now the yellow blocks are gone, and everything's working generally as it should. But I hate it because I used to play with that overhaul. It helped a lot as far as making it more like a traditional RPG versus the leveling of everything. I don't know how to explain that, but how
it
you
turned
level
off
up.
automatic level scaling.
Yes, level scaling. Scaling was the part that I missed there. So, I mean, I still I love RPGs like Gothic, where you can wander into a particular area of the map, and it's a little beyond your skill level, and you get completely slaughtered, and you realize, oh, I need to go back and level up a lot more. And it's very satisfying when you go back to that area after you've leveled up, and you can, tear up those same monsters that were destroying you before.
I had my own unfortunate experience with automatic scaling, because GOG had a discount on Homeworld, the remastered edition. And, I enjoyed playing Homeworld when it first came out, and I'd never actually bothered picking up the remaster, but, for $5, I'm not going to say no. So I picked it up, and then I installed it, and as I started playing it, I sunk a lot of hours into Homeworld back in the day, and so a lot of it kind of came back very quickly. And I remembered specifically for Mission 3, so if you know your Homeworld, right? Mission 1 is just kind of, you're learning the basics of how to control units. The mothership has just launched. It all seems to be going well. Mission 2 is, of course, where it starts to break down. You go to the outer reaches of the solar system, and you're supposed to rendezvous with a ship there, but it's been destroyed by pirates. And so you fight them off, and then you return. Mission 3 is, of course, you return to your home planet, only to find that it's been nuked from orbit, and, you're all that's left, except for 6 trays full of a whole bunch of cryo-sleeping colonists that are busily being attacked by a couple of enemy frigates. The thing is, with the remastered edition, the difficulty of each mission auto-scales based on the number, based on the strength of your forces going into it. And I knew that I had a couple of frigates to tackle, along with a handful of, fighters and whatever else. So I had made a point of, building up my forces as much as I possibly could before I finished Mission 2.
Oh, dear.
Yes, this made Mission 3 instantly unwinnable. All 6 cryo trays were gone before I could even get any attack ships in place to defend them.
Yes, you gamed the system from how you knew it used to work, and then that came back and bit you in the behind.
Yep, because there was a different system in play.
Yep.
But it became very quickly apparent how to game that system.
Yes, I think I remember seeing a post that you wrote about this somewhere.
Yeah, I was talking about it on Discord. So the way to game that system was get rid of all your combat units. If you get rid of all your combat units and all you come into the system with is
El Basico trash.
No, repair corvettes and salvage corvettes.
El Basico trash, yes.
Well, that's the thing. The repair corvettes, you can swarm immediately to the cryo trays and save them. And the salvage corvettes, you can immediately swarm to the enemy cruisers and capture them. But it also drops back to just 2 enemy frigates, no fighters or corvettes supporting. right? So
you can win the mission easily, but you're not getting a lot of enemy vessels out of it because there's not many to capture.
yeah. So, but then equally, I'll take 2 frigates that I can capture reliably versus 8 frigates that are going to wipe out all my cryo trays in a matter of seconds. Because the cryo trays don't have a ton of health. So, but yeah, so that was a fun little realization. And that's the only mission, I think, though, where it's like really, truly terrible. Past that point, it's been pretty decent. It's funny. I keep, it's like, yes, there's new games coming out, but I keep revisiting old games. Mass Effect 2, Homeworld.
Well, if they keep remastering them, it's like a new take on the old game. It's not like you're playing the same game over and over again.
Well, I mean, especially if they're going to change the mechanics on me, that's actually true.
Exactly.
But, I mean, let's face it. I replay Ultima 6 so often anyways that the idea of revisiting a game, even if it is the same game that I've played before, is not really bothersome to me.
Clearly not. Sir?
Oh, just surveying the scouts' handiwork here and trying to pick a place to actually build something. I may worry about that another time.
Diggy hole.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, there's a couple of islands over here. Maybe I'll do that.
Get yourself a nice subterranean house. Like the only thing on the surface is like a little single tiny well, so no one would have any reason suspecting you're down there.
Yeah, could maybe do that. I don't know. I kind of had this idea of like building a sort of more zany styled house and then maybe a lighthouse as well. But someone's built a pillar over here. This is fun. It's fun to me because I run this server and so it's always amusing to like log in
to see where they've gone with it.
To see where they've gone with it in the game, but then also to like log into the actual server side and like look at the logs and see who connected and when and.
Well, what sneakiness is going on here?
Yeah. Well, there's sort of a pattern to when some of them connect, right? Like they're only online certain hours of the day, for example. But it's I don't know, it's been a pretty good, like, it's kind of, the idea was, like, they only had one meeting where they actually did Minecraft, but then the idea was that I would keep the server on for them to explore and experiment with, as they saw fit. And they really took that and ran with it, so.
Oh, good on them.
But I have to spin up a Java server because we have a couple of youth that are Java only. And so that's my next project. In addition to all the other projects.
Sounds like you never want for work.
No, I almost never do, actually. It's there's always something. There is always something to tackle. And that's fine. I'm actually all kinds of fun things to build with.
Where does he get all those wonderful toys?
Actually watched Tim Burton Batman the other night.
Oh, really?
Indeed.
Yeah. It's it has aged pretty well. I mean, it's totally dated, but I mean, I know some people will say that Batman Returns is better, but that one's not bad. It's still not like the best iteration in my opinion, but
I don't know whether it's better per se. It's different. They strive to do different things fundamentally.
Well, I think that's kind of how everybody seems to approach Batman, right? Like, the Tim Burton take is very different than the Joel Schumacher take is very different than the
Batman 69 take.
Well, okay, yeah, if you really want to go extreme, then yes, that is also true.
Sometimes, Robin, you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Nah, I unironically love Batman 66. The reason I love it is because if you look at the Batman comics in the early 60s, that's exactly how they were. So in reality, what they were doing with that show was accurately adapting Batman for the television show based on the comics. And I know that he was dark beforehand, but by the time it came to that, he wasn't really quite so dark anymore. And the show is really funny. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks that way. I know, like growing up, you get to a point where it's like, oh, I want my Batman to be dark and gritty, and I think generally that's what you want with Batman. But there's a charm, I'll say. There's a charm, and of course, it doesn't hurt that I would. It is one that I would watch after school just about every day if it was on. So when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember catching a few. Here and there. It wasn't a regular watch for me, but like I definitely had some of it growing up. I don't know. It's just, yeah.
It's goofball. I mean, that's exactly what it is.
It's definitely goofball.
It's camp. It is absolutely glorious camp, and you just have to like not get into that mindset where you don't allow yourself to enjoy camp, because then you're just ruining it for yourself.
There is something to that. I was going to say the one that I was going for was Christopher Nolan, who offers a very different take again on the whole Batman concept.
I'm kind of questionable. I don't really know how to. Go ahead.
Just remember in my childhood that my older brother, for the Adam West Batman, he called that one the Big Belly Batman.
And it's funny because like Adam West was not like overweight. I mean, he's just a normal looking dude. But in those kind of tights, I mean,
yeah,
it's not very flattering.
This is an accurate statement.
Yeah.
But I will give Adam West credit for one thing. Adam West did something that really, the only person I know who did it as well as Adam West was William Shatner. Adam West learned how to sell Adam West.
Oh yeah, he adapted with the times.
Even when Batman was no longer a thing he was doing, Adam West could sell the whole Adam West package. He does it better than almost anyone else I know.
Well, yeah, and he kind of kept that up, like even past, the Batman days. Think of some of his
past the Batman days.
Yeah, think of like some of his guest appearances, even on things like South Park, right? And it's like, okay, like
Adam West is the mayor of Quahog on Family Guy. This is prime Adam West hamming up what everyone thinks of Adam West.
Absolutely. And even though I wasn't the biggest fan of South Park, I definitely appreciated the times when his character was on, because it's like, okay, yeah, this is funny. Goodness me. It's funny we're all gaming tonight, or some of us are at any rate. Probably most of us.
I'm reorienting my mod approach right now on here. I've pulled out a good bit that was really weird. I had one that was like unique landscapes, and there were trees that were growing in the middle of bridges, and just a lot of weirdness. So I disabled a lot of that, pulled back a good bit. Now I'm kind of just playing around trying to find a good combination. Hopefully I'm not ruining my install, but if I do, it's not a really big deal.
Let's reinstall again. Wait, what?
We will fix what is broken by replacing what is broken.
Yeah, there's a lot of that sometimes. Well, sometimes you do just have to pave everything to build something new. Like I literally just did to my Minecraft house. Ha ha ha.
Bang, bang,
Minecraft
on the door.
One thing I was really impressed to see, I logged into my old Minecraft account on the website, and I was able to obtain, I think it was a code. I don't remember. This was a few months back. I was able to obtain a code to get a copy of the Windows 10 version for free, because like I think I bought the game like way back when it was like in beta or something, and so I guess my copy to that entitled me, from the Java version, entitled me to a free copy of the Windows version, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's that was still applicable. I think when I bought my eldest a copy of Java, which is nice. I mean,
I thought you were about to say that was illegal.
No. That was definitely still a thing. That, but I mean, like it's one of those. It's one of those. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. It's one of those things where it's like, this is nice, but at the same time, I I always wondered at the decision there. Like, I know that they're really trying to push Bedrock forward, and I get why.
Well,
well, I mean, they've done wonders with Bedrock, right? Like, it's
they're really pushing that.
it's become the de facto, like, it's where a lot of I mean, they're still working on Java, but like Bedrock is, I think, sort of where they're trying to push forward too. And it's obviously like, that's what powers the Windows 10 version. That's what powers the mobile version. That's what powers the console versions for the most part. There's a couple of exceptions. And so that's where they're really sort of driving crossplay as much as they can, which I think is really great. And that's what we have set up here on the scouting server is Bedrock. And, you know, we have people connecting from iPad and from Samsung tablets and from PC and from Xbox, and it's cool. It's a shame but it's just always struck me that, you know, hey, you bought Java edition, here's Bedrock edition. They can't play together, but have fun. Because Bedrock and Java remain, to this day, incompatible with each other.
Yeah, so when Microsoft bought it, they basically had it adapted to a whole new platform, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the Bedrock version is basically a straight up rebuild of the game. And I mean, I quite enjoy it. I've actually had it since Pocket Edition, but yeah, it's been it's what it is, I guess.
Basically, it's a platform to do exactly what you're saying. It allows PC users to game with someone on Android or an iMac or something. iMac.
Yeah, and I know crossplay was like always the goal.
Couldn't exactly play it on an iMac.
No, I suppose you wouldn't really do that.
It's late, and I spent the afternoon working on my lawn. And
actually, no, I think there might be an Apple build. I'd have to check. I would really have to check. I mean, it's been years and years and years since I've used a Mac, so I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to check. Whew, this is going to be a rough episode. That's okay, though. We're all a little out of practice.
Research!
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look. But easily done. Minecraft.net. Games. Minecraft. Oh, they still list Minecraft Earth here, even though it's shutting down.
To soon be succeeded by Minecraft Mars.
All right. Minecraft for Windows. Compare platforms and features. Okay. So I think if I'm reading this right, Bedrock is on... Oh, well, here. I want to play on PC, and in particular, I want to play on Mac. My choices are Java. I want to play on a computer. Yep, okay. So yeah, if I'm on the Minecraft website, it's like, what do you want to play on? I select computer, I select Windows, it lets me choose between Java and Bedrock. If I select Mac, I only get Java. So there you go.
So technically, if the iMac was competent enough, you could do the Java version.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I'm running it on the PC that I have running Java Edition, and it runs it half decently, enough that my kid doesn't complain about it. And she's not the most patient person. It's running an older Core i5, I think a 3300, 8 gigs of RAM. The video card's like a GT 730, just something really basic. So it ain't no amazing thing. I'm sure if you had a reasonably modern Mac, it would run just fine. Equally, I don't have benchmarks in front of me, so I don't know. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day on the server. I'll build my house another time. But maybe just to wrap up. So one of the podcasts I listen to is called, it's by 1Password. It's called Random But Memorable. And like 1Password, that's the password manager I've been using for a few years now. And, random but memorable, that's one of the philosophies for how to generate a good password for yourself. I just say use a password manager, and then you don't have to worry about the memorable part. Just keep it random. But for the longest time, they played this game regarding pwned passwords. And so they would start with an initial password. And from there, they would, it's like, okay, well, how many times has this one been pwned? Or like, according to have I been pwned, like how many times was this password used by different users? And so they'd kind of iterate through different passwords and basically have to guess less or more than the last password in the list. So I thought I would play a version of that game, but most played games on Steam in 2020, according to peak number of concurrent players.
I have no idea.
Well,
way outside of my field of experience.
Well, I already know I've already got the games in front of me here. We're just going to do the same thing. You're going to guess more or less.
I am merely referring to the fact that I am going to suck at this and suck hard.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to start with Among Us, okay? Among Us is going to be our baseline. And Among Us had its peak concurrent player base in 2020, its peak number of concurrent players was 438,000. 438,440. Yeah.
Is this leading into a slam on Shroud of the Avatar?
No, although, for the record, it does not appear on this list.
Okay. Leading to a slam on Shroud of the Avatar? Not until that one dude reads about it.
Yeah. So, there's Among Us. Let's call it 438,000 concurrent players at peak in 2020. Dota 2. Do you think it had more or less?
What was the first one? Among Us?
Among Us at 438,000.
Would have less. Given the reach of Among Us, I would say that. That's just my personal thought.
Any other thoughts?
Just to be contrarian, because it was one of those big esports games, I'm going to say it had more.
Well, point goes to Helgra for that round.
There we go.
794,000 peak concurrent. All right, let's try another one. Oh, hey, you're a Mountain Blade fan, aren't you, Clortos?
Oh, yes, very much so.
Okay. Well, Mountain Blade's on the list, so the last number that we saw, Dota, 794,000. Mountain Blade, less or more?
I'd have to say less, because people don't know about that game. I mean, my thought is, typically, it's a little more niche than that.
I would actually be inclined to agree.
And you are both right. 247,000.
Okay.
Although that's still impressive for peak concurrency.
Oh, yeah, for what it is. I would guess that would be Warband, though, right? Or are we talking
possibly.
The original?
This dataset does not discriminate in that regard.
Okay. Warband was definitely the point where it took off. But yeah.
All right. Let's try another one here. Destiny 2. So, Mountain Blade, 247,000. Destiny 2. More or less?
Ooh, that's a tough one, because Destiny 2 was supposed to be really strong, but then they had issues. I don't know how, but that might not have affected their peak number.
I kind of feel like I should abstain because I have no idea. I never played Destiny 2. I've
never played it either. I just know stuff about it indirectly.
You ever played Dota 2? You guessed on that one.
No, I haven't played Dota 2 either. Basically, all the suppositions I'm making are based on essentially how much hype I've run into regarding the game online.
Destiny has definitely had a lot of hype behind it, but you are right, it has also had a lot of issues. So, do you think it had a little bit more?
What was the number on Mountain Blade?
So, Mount and Blade was 247,000. That was its peak concurrent player base in 2020. Destiny 2, less or more?
Ooh, that is a high bar to clear. I'll say less, but I'll say it's going to be close.
All right. Clordos.
I'm going to say less. I'm going to agree.
And you're both right. And it was actually pretty close. 241,000. So, kind of just right up there. Slightly edged out by Mount and Blade, though. All right. Let's try... Ooh. Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, God.
Speaking of a game with issues...
Yeah, we're going straight from one game with issues directly to another, huh?
Yep.
Our theme today is games that had problems.
It really is, isn't it? Starting with Oblivion.
Maybe I should just load up Shroud of the Avatar and see how far we get.
Now
I should
you're doing it on purpose. How juvenile.
I should really log in and move something in my lighthouse. But anyways, so
Like say the light.
yeah. Well, I think the light moves by itself, but maybe I could put a candle on a table.
Get a bunch of mirrors. See if you can get this lighthouse to go total disco ball.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the physics model in the game is that advanced.
Is that robust, right? Are you saying it's not? Has my liege lord lied to me?
Well, I mean, I didn't
say it ain't so.
Right. There's a lot of that with Shroud. Cyberpunk.
He's too busy diving under the sea right now.
Well, I think he's back, but yes, he's been talking about it a lot on Twitter. Some of the marine species they were able to capture samples of.
And here are 3 marine species that we'll know about feature in new Hollywood blockbuster horror movies.
Yeah. I don't know. The one I saw looked more like a shrimp, so not the most terrifying thing.
Have you heard about blood shrimp?
I've heard about mantis shrimp.
Are they the ones with the 16 color cones in their eyes?
And the like bullet speed stabby claws?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're talking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, they don't look terrifying. And then suddenly you're dead.
Yeah, and then they are. All right. So anyways, back to Cyberpunk 2077. Destiny 2 had 241,000. That was their peak number of concurrent players in 2020. Cyberpunk, more or less?
I'm going to gamble on this one and say less.
A lot more.
All right. It was a gamble and loss.
Yep. This is, looks like they just crested 1 million at peak concurrent.
See, everybody was going crazy over that game. I mean, you know.
Well, it had a really strong launch. It was just what followed.
Yeah, you see that's the thing. When you have a launch and crash, it's hard to say where they're going to actually end up in terms of peak numbers.
Yeah, and admittedly, like, you know, the title of the data set here does kind of give it away, right? We're looking at peak. We're not looking at, you know, sort of long haul performance necessarily. That said, speaking of things with long haul performance, how about PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds? What was
the peak number for Cyberpunk?
Just over 1 million.
Ooh, this is.
1,048,000.
I feel like this is going to be another close one.
Yeah, this sounds like a 50-50 to me.
Yeah, this is going to be another close one, I think, either way. But I'm going to go with the high end. I remember PUBG was really running like some outrageous claims at one point.
And it definitely is on more platforms than Cyberpunk.
That also. So I'm going to say higher.
All right. How about you, Clodos?
I'll go ahead and say less. You know, I don't know. I think
it's
it could go either way.
It's a bit less.
Okay.
About 906,000.
Wow.
All right. What do we got? Yeah, I got a few more here. Ooh, here's a fun one. GTA 5.
So now we're GTA 5 and PUBG?
Yeah, we're jumping from PUBG at 906,000 to GTA 5.
Unknown.
Funnily enough.
Yeah.
I definitely would not know offhand.
Well, this is just a game of less or more.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we're basically just playing Card Sharks with internet popularity contests.
Where's the game show host? Oh, wait, it's Kenneth.
Yes, I was going to say, that one should have been obvious. Complete with game show host humor.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I never really watched game shows. So the most seriously I watched a game show was actually like, you know, Will Ferrell's take on Alex Trebek. Not actually Alex Trebek.
I'm just going to say you might want a little aloe.
It's all good.
I'll watch The Price is Right, but specifically I'll look on YouTube for one from the 70s or 80s. Bob Barker.
There's a few seasons
Remember
of
to always
Jeopardy
have
that were
your-
on Netflix.
Remember to always have your pet spayed or neutered.
Ba-dumps. All right. So, less or more? Grand Theft Auto 5.
I'd say more.
I think this is going to be another close race. So in the interest of, just not agreeing on everything, I'll actually go less.
Quite a lot less, actually. 267,000. So, quite a significant drop over PUBG there.
Yeah, like I said, while I overestimated just how high they went, PUBG did have some crazy numbers posting for a while.
They did, and probably still do. But especially because, Fortnite is still off the App Store, but PUBG is not. Okay. Got a couple more left here. Terraria.
And the last game the last number we're comparing it to was what?
267,000.
Ooh.
How popular is Terraria?
It's popular enough that I've heard of it, but not popular. I don't know if it's popular enough to boast those numbers or not. Unfortunately,
it's on this list, so
yeah, but this list has had a product range between 200,000 and over 1 million, so it's not like titles are exactly internally inconsistent here.
You are right.
This is one of those cases where it's on this list doesn't actually help.
It's a popular enough game, at least, though. I don't imagine the developers are hurting. I think it's a fairly small team that put that together.
I've heard of it. I just don't have a good enough feel to be really comfortable with it. What was the last one's numbers again?
Those were, excuse me, I tabbed away here. Shoot, what were we looking at? We were looking at Grand Theft Auto, right? 267.
267?
Yeah, 267,000.
I'm going to say less. I'm going to say it's not a lot less, but I'm going to say less.
I'll say less. That's fine. I think
it's
I would
actually
agree with
more. 482,000.
Wow.
So it even beat Among Us.
Yeah, to be honest, Among Us's big surge was... I felt Among Us had more popularity, not because of sheer volume of players, but because of essentially the storyline and related issues. So it wasn't really so much how many people are playing it at once as, and wow, how much of an experience this is. It's kind of like the vibe that Planescape Torment picked up, like not when it was initially sold, but later on.
Oh yeah, Among Us was trucking along for years with a player base measured in the dozens.
Yeah, there's your answer right there now, ain't it?
Yep. And then, all of a sudden everyone's locked up indoors, and here's a game that you can, play ad hoc with friends. And a few, it was definitely helped too when a few of the bigger name streamers picked it up and were just like, hey guys, this is really fun.
Hey guys, I think the milk's gone bad. Try it.
Well, you know what? The developers have been... Inner Sloth were actually thinking of discontinuing it, right? Of just closing it down.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden,
they got their lucky break at just the right moment, essentially.
Yep. And, a lucky break, but at the same time, it made for a frantic weekend or two of, basically just provisioning more and more and more servers as the player base ballooned.
Build more servers. More servers.
Right? How many AWS instances can we spin up at once? Because we need all of them.
Guys, our infrastructure was not equipped for this. We need more hardware now.
It's just funny because, again, coming back to the Scouts, they would play Werewolf and, more Werewolf than Mafia, but either way, it's the same rule set. And that's the Among Us, that's all Among Us is it's basically just a video game based around that concept. A little bit pared back. You don't have quite all the same roles to play. But
it's that on concept, but then they wisely added in additional elements like the tasks you need to complete.
Yes. Yeah, just to give the non-imposters something to do.
And but also it provides a certain amount of pressure because the imposters have to at least look like they're trying to complete tasks, or it tends to become a more obvious call out to, oh look, this guy is probably sus.
Yeah. My daughter has literally got like most of the different. Well, I mean, some of the tasks are, you can't time them reliably. Like there's a wiring task where you have to match blue wire to blue wire, red wire to red wire. And that's going to vary based on players. But there's some tasks like the download task that take a discrete and repeatable amount of time. And so, yeah, my daughter has gotten very good at kind of watchdogging the timeable tasks. And it's like if someone takes a little too long or doesn't take quite long enough, then it's like emergency meeting, I suspect.
Yep.
Anyways, okay, got 2 more left here. Terraria was at 482,000. Monster Hunter World.
Okay. If I remember correctly, this is one of those ones that's big in outside of the US. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if this one actually did manage to top Terraria. So I'm going to say up.
All right. Clothos?
I can agree with that. Again, I really don't have a frame of reference there.
I'll warn you, my frame of reference is the fact that I spend a lot of time on Tumblr and other internet sites. So my frame of reference is interesting, but not always correct.
Well, speaking of frames of reference, let's keep in mind, too, that we're talking about Steam here. And while I do grant that Monster Hunter World probably does have a very large player base worldwide and across consoles, Xbox, PlayStation, and through other PC storefronts, on Steam, it only came in at 284,000.
Well, there you go.
Okay, last one. CSGO.
I'm sorry, what?
Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Given the type of game it is, probably more. So yeah, I concur.
It's also only available on Steam, I believe, being a Valve game. And top of the pile, just over 1.3 million.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah, that one was basically a no contest.
Yeah. Wow.
If they put it up against that other one that had done over 1 million, that might have been a closer guessing game to have to play, but
pretty much. So, anyways, there is that. There's a few more bits of stats that I've found, so I'll probably, as we do other episodes, I'll try and bake some of those in. But there you go. If you want to join the Ultima Dragons, you can do so at udic.org, where you can choose your very own dragon name. You can also find the Ultima Dragons on Facebook. We have a Facebook group there. And you can follow at Ultima Dragons on Twitter, or join them on Discord. And if you're feeling really old school, you can even fire up a Telnet client and check out the Weremount. Hit up the show notes for links to all of these. If you want to participate more directly in the podcast, you can send us an email, or if you're feeling a little bit braver, leave us a voice message in one of 3 places: the podcast website, our Facebook page, or on anchor.fm. And you're also welcome to join us on our Discord server to chat with us, to lurk, or even contribute to podcast recordings when they happen. And again, links in the show notes. If you'd like to support Spam Humbug, you can do so at patreon.com/ultimacodex, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to episodes the day before they go live to the general public. You'll also get access to behind-the-scenes audio when we have some to share, and possibly other interesting content. But we also welcome your moral support. You can like the Ultima series on Facebook, follow at Ultima Codex on Twitter, or leave the podcast a review on iTunes. And you're also welcome to share our episodes with your friends and social media circles. Spam Humbug is a production of the Ultima Codex. You can find show notes online at spamhumbug.com. Thank you for listening, and until next time, be virtuous.